you'll start to notice that the actions that you take as a person day to day will start aligning with the person that you need to become to bring those goals to life.
So I'm sure people listening, Lewis, will be keen to hear some more techniques for perhaps how you were able to carve out and find that time when you were already busy with a full-time job. So have you got any productivity techniques to share with us?
Yeah, well, there's one powerful technique which I've since found out is called the Pomodoro technique. But actually, I didn't even really know it under that name, and I didn't use it in the way I'll describe in a moment. I used to just set a timer on my phone for 30 minutes and just have it visibly on the desk there, maybe put it on airplane mode so that no notifications could pop up and I couldn't get disturbed. And during that 30 minutes, I would have one goal and one thing that I needed to get done, so that if that was the only 30 minutes that I could work for that whole day, I could mark that day as a success on the basis that I achieved the number one thing I needed to do that day. So that was the way I used to do it. Now there's something, and it probably existed the whole time, I just didn't know about it, called the Pomodoro technique, which is where you work intensely for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. And then presumably you can repeat it after that. If you go to pomofocus.io, pomofocus.io, click start and close everything down and try it after this episode, you can just work on that main thing for 25 minutes and just watch the countdown timer coming down. And there's something about that timer that focuses the mind. It's a bit like interval training in the gym. You know, your short bursts of focused effort, it can lead to significant gains. And it means that in that time where you know that the time is about to end, you can push yourself harder than you would if there was just this like open-ended, you just got to work as hard as you can and there's no end in sight. Like you start to, your mind plays tricks on you and starts to make you say, well, you can't sustain this, so you better not work as hard. Maybe we'll look at YouTube for a bit. Maybe we'll do a bit of procrastination here. You know, instead it's just focused intensity for that time. And if you are really struggling to find the time, then a great way of using that and incorporating that technique into your day is to schedule your day in these intervals. So like you said, with batching some of the tasks that are taking up your time, well, you've even sometimes got to batch the tasks where you're building your business and say, maybe I've only got between 6 and 7 a.m. every day to build my business, and then between 7 and 8 p.m. to build my business. Okay, so you've got 2 hours there. What are you going to do with them? You know, that's 4 half-an-hour blocks that could be focused, intense, going after one specific task at a time and really getting the most out of it. So even, I think, despite your time being limited, it's not even a case of, your time's limited so you can't do as much. Sometimes you'll find you actually do more knowing that your time is limited because it focuses the mind in a way that just wouldn't happen if you had 8 hours open in your calendar and you just like, wow, I'll get on with it today at my own pace. So I think there's something very, very powerful there. And another thing that I've got into the habit of doing is after you have completed a task, after you've worked really hard, make sure you reward yourself afterwards. Like for me today, I'm here in Playa del Carmen in Mexico for about 6 weeks. I'm going to film this podcast. Then I've got to interview a candidate for a new role at Dropship Unlocked that we are hiring for at the moment. Then I've got to have a review of a video from our videographer that we're about to release. Then I'll approve a VAT report from our accounting team. And after that, I'm taking my son swimming to the pool because that's the reward, that I'm going to get those things done because those are the most important things in my day to day. And after that, I'm going to have some downtime and spend some time with my son. So I guess that's an example of it. Whatever your reward is, whether it's going out for a coffee, whether it's going for a bike ride, a run, or whatever you want to do, watch some TV, like that, baking that in so that your brain starts to realize, oh, this was good. I was very productive and I got this reward. And it starts to habitualize that productivity.
Exactly. And you can make it fun for yourself. As soon as you become intentional, it's fun to look back on your day when you've had the 3 hours of productivity, you've got the most important task done, then you've had some time doing whatever you wanted to do, relaxing, spending time with friends and family, and you can look back proud on the day that you've had because you've got the most important task done and you've enjoyed yourself while you're doing it as well. I know I used to spend some time on the weekend. I'd carve out a couple of hours and I'd reward myself afterwards by just watching TV with my girlfriend, or we'd go and take the dog for a walk in the local park or a nearby sort of countryside area. And yeah, I used to love that. It was great. It felt like it was so rewarding to be able to reward yourself after you've done the most important task. So it's fun. It doesn't need to feel like a drag. You just need to be a little bit creative and more intentional with how you spend your time. So prioritization and focus are going to have a key role to play to make sure that we can make time for the things that are most important to us. So how do you go about actually prioritizing things, and how do you think other people should focus on the most important tasks?
Well, something I find that's helpful is to start each day by identifying the top 3 tasks that are going to move your business forward. Knowing that even if you manage to only tackle number 1 or number 1 and number 2, you can still call the day a success if you get through those things. And a good way of doing this is, rather than waking up in the morning and thinking, right, what have I got to do today? Like trying to sift through your to-do list to find the top 3 things, is plan tomorrow today. So at the end of your day, just take some time to figure out, okay, what are the big things I need to do tomorrow that will really make a difference? And what are the things that I could delegate or outsource or get off my plate? And what are the things I need to do? And focus on those things. And what that does is when you do it the night before, it allows your subconscious mind to kind of process those 3 things whilst you sleep. And you'll be surprised that when you wake up in the morning, you might not think that you have been processing them or thinking about them or considering them, but they'll have been kind of dormantly running through your mind throughout the night while you slept. And it's a bit of a hack really mentally in terms of being able to start the day prepared, ready to go, and already have a bit of a head start on some of those tasks. You know, it's like when I packed my case to come out here to Mexico, I was looking at all of the things that we could take for a 6-week trip. And I had to really prioritize what went in there. You know, you have to really think, well, do I need all of this extra stuff? Or can I just take the essentials for the journey and the other stuff can just be left behind? It's the same for your day. Don't try to cram everything into your day and think all of this stuff on the to-do list needs to be done today, because otherwise your day is just a mess, you know, or if you pack too much in your case, you get charged the excess baggage fees at the airport.
Yeah, I love it. I love the analogy of baggage and packing a suitcase, because it's similar to prioritization with where we spend our time. Because I realized when I started to get more busy with growing a business that whenever you say yes to something like growing a business, you have to say no to something else. So with the suitcase analogy, yes to the hair straighteners, no to Jay's trainers is normally the way it goes with my girlfriend and I, and she often wins that battle. But it fits in with time prioritization as well. You know, think about what are you going to say yes to? Therefore, you have to say no to something else. And it all comes down to prioritization. So think about what's the most important things for you, and how are you going to make sure your schedule is pushed towards getting the things that are most important to you done, and you have to leave those things that are not so important behind, wherever that is for you. But you'll know your own schedule. I think we all know that perhaps we have busier times at different times of the week. And if you're the type of person that has a really busy Monday and Tuesday, allow yourself to do less of business growth on those days, and you have a quieter time in the rest of the week. It's just about being creative and thinking about how you can make your schedule work best for you to get after the goals that you want to achieve. So setting goals and prioritization, for me, it's clear that having a very strong why and a reason why you want to achieve what you want to achieve is pivotal in really finding and making time for the things that are important for you. So how would you recommend that somebody listening to this episode today should go around setting their goals effectively?
Well, you've heard of SMART goals, right? The acronym. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So that's a good way. That's a good kind of acronym to use when you are building goals. But goals in business are like your destinations. If you're on a journey in the car, it's like those are the stops, right? Those are the things that you've got to try and get to, the milestones, the checkpoint. So knowing where you're headed makes the journey purposeful. It makes it directed rather than just aimlessly driving around. You know, when someone opens up the inbox and just says, right, I'm going to start the day going, right, what's in? Oh, it's something from the accountant. Oh, it's something from PR agency. Oh, I've got, you know, a couple of CVs sent through for a job. Like there's so much task switch happening that you can't focus on any one thing, and you'll get through all that stuff, but you'll end the day feeling like you were very unproductive and like you got not much done. Whereas if you say, no, I'm going to do this, this, and this today, that's like setting off an intentional car journey, knowing that those are your 3 stops. Another thing to do is write down your goals. Try and write them down daily. I challenge you, if you're listening to this now, try and write down your 3 big goals, maybe morning and evening. just scribble them down on a piece of paper next to your bed. Try doing that for 30 days straight. 99% of people won't do it, so it doesn't matter. But watch what happens if you're in the 1% that do it. And later on, don't even worry about breaking them down into actionable steps and then kind of like mapping them out into a plan, because that will happen. This is where the subconscious kind of takes over. The important thing is to actually write them out in the morning and in the evening for 30 days straight. And you'll start to notice that the actions that you take as a person day to day will start aligning with the person that you need to become to bring those goals to life. So you almost start to embody the kind of person that would achieve those goals. And you didn't even think about the strategy or the actions or the steps to do it. All you did was focus on the goals, but you kept it front of mind morning and evening. So it's really powerful stuff. So that's definitely a technique I would advise. But as I say, most people won't do it.
That's right. Most people won't, but the people that do will get so much benefit from it. It really outweighs so many other things that I've done. And I've started doing morning visualization probably about 3 years ago. And I've done it ever since, because every morning I reconnect to what's important to me. Where do I want to go? What do I want my life to look like? And also I'm grateful for what I've got right now, which is important to balance that. But realizing what it is you're going after, the sort of person you want to be, the sort of success you want to achieve, just sets you up on such a good platform. And that ties in to something else, which is all about where do you want to be with your life in 6 or 12 months' time. You need to be really clear on that and really clear on why that's important for you. So if you want to have a thriving online business, why? Dive in for your own specific reasons. For myself personally, it was that I wanted to leave my unfulfilling 9-to-5 job. I wanted to be proud of myself. I wanted to have a business that I could be proud of and could scale to a really, really healthy income and allow me to do what I wanted when I wanted, wherever in the world I wanted to be. And that goal was so powerful for me that it meant that doing the work to get there was a no-brainer, because I created that so powerful in my mind. And I think it made me realize, because the framework that I believe all humans work around, so human psychology and my knowledge around it, is that we are all moving away from pain and we're moving towards pleasure. So the way to hack that system is to make what you don't want to do with your life very, very painful, and make what it is you want to achieve in life not very painful to get towards. So I made it in my mind that if I didn't achieve the goals that I set out with growing a business, I made it incredibly painful for myself. I visualized how painful that would be to not achieve that. So then when I contrasted that to, can I find half an hour today to do one task? The pain of me doing that task was so much less and lower than the pain of not achieving the goals that I'd set out. And it made it easy. It meant that I wasn't having to constantly fight with myself to do work, because it was very, very clear, simple and easy for me to realize that finding the time was a lot less painful than not achieving the goals that I'd set out for myself.